Over to Mali now, where Interim President Ndaw and Prime Minister Moctar have officially resigned from office. That's according to media reports. Ndaw and Ouane have been detained since Monday evening at a military camp outside the capital, Bamako. The country's interim Vice President, Colonel Assimi Goita, has accused them of both failing in their duties and seeking to sabotage the country's transition. Reports of their resignations come as West African mediators visit that country, hoping to organize their release. Colonel Goita is the officer who led last year's military coup. Well, for more on that story, we're now joined by Fahiraman Rodrigue Kone, senior researcher at the ISS Sahel Team based in Bamako, Mali. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Kone. What is the situation in Mali right now?
The situation is already quiet, but at the same time remains uncertain. There wasn't heavy popular contestation following the arrest of the president and his prime minister, nor after the announcement of their removal from office. And the labor union, which last week called for an unlimited strike, suspended it yesterday while denouncing at the same time the coup. So this morning, people were at work. The situation is calm.
So what we are hearing, Mr. Kone, is that Mali's interim president and prime minister have resigned following their detention. What does this mean for the country?
This means because the transition was supposed to lay down the foundation of a profound reform of the Mali political governance system, which was the root causes of this long crisis. And this reform was supposed to take place in a short amount of time. And presidential elections were planned next year after a number of reforms. There was a clear planned electoral calendar and with the current situation all remain uncertain. And even if the junta announced that election would still took place next week. And secondly, the international community strongly condemned the coup. That means this situation will trigger more negotiation in an already complex political context. At the same time, this political confusion could be a window of opportunity of the expansion of violent extremist group activities in Mali and over the region, and also could further destabilize the Sahel region and beyond. So there is a high risk, security risk and a political risk of this situation.
Mr. Kone, so far it seems as though ECOWAS has been unable to find a solution to what is happening in Mali. Why do you think that is?
It's because the ECOWAS framework of this kind of political crisis resolution seems to be ineffective. They seem to apply the same recipe for any situation, for each situation, without taking account the complexity of each context. Mali crisis is a multidimensional and historical and rooted crisis. The idea of addressing every challenge in a short amount of time, while putting together civilians with limited influence compared to the military was, at my point of view, counterproductive in the Mali case. The transition should be based on a realistic diagnostic of the power relation and focusing on specific priorities.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Fahiraman Rodrigue Kone, senior researcher at the ISS Sahel Team based in Bamako, Mali.